People, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV for another quick Chelsea transfer news show. It has been a little bit quiet in recent days, but there's more breaking news. We've even had some more breaking news now to let you guys know on. We've got Olise, we've got Duran, we've got Maatsen, we've got a bit of Gallagher, we've got talks about the owners. We've also got talks of breaking news that's just come out on Aaron and Anselmino, which has just been announced as well, which we're going to be getting into as well. Guys, do me a favor if you can, smash the likes if you can. Run the likes up, smash them, hit them, get them up. We've got loads to discuss, more breaking news for you as well. And let's cue that intro. People, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV for another transfer news show for you guys. Lots to discuss, lots is happening in the space of 24, 48 hours at this club. And we're going to be breaking it down and going through it with you guys on the show. We've just had some more breaking news in and around Chelsea from Fabrizio Romano, which we're going to be highlighting very soon as well. How are you all doing in the chat? Good to see every single one of you. I hope you are all well. As always, lots to discuss. Olise, Duran, Maatsen to Villa, you know. We've got a new centre-back on the reams of interest from Chelsea that's just come out from Fabrizio Romano as well. How are we all doing in the chat, guys? Jonathan, good to see you. Ori, good to see you. Leo, Adele, everyone in the building slowly coming in. Smash the likes, guys. Let's go. Run it up, run it up, run it up. Lots to get into. Olise is a here we go, is what Levon thinks. You think we're going to get Olise? That's going to... Hey, Corey, what are you saying? Big up to you. Olise still is doing my head in. Do you think we'll sign Olise plus Pies' tweet? What is Pies' tweet? What is Pies' tweet? Let's have a look. Has he got a new tweet out? Has he got a new tweet out? Oh, okay, interesting. We've got news in and around Samu Omoro Dion as well, the guy from Atletico that Chelsea are bidding for heavily, which is interesting because it doesn't fall in line with the whole Duran situation, which is where we're going to go to after the Maatsen talks as well. But we're going to add that in as well because there's some more news coming out on that. Lots going on at Chelsea at the moment. Make sure you're hitting the likes, guys. We're going to keep bringing you with the rating news. Waiting for a here we go. Well, are we going to get a here we go before the end of the weekend? I don't know, guys. It's the honest opinion. We've been told, and we're going to talk more about Olise in a bit, that he's been given over the weekend to decide what he wants. We know he's had offers from elsewhere as well. And there's lots for us to discuss and get into. There's a lot for us to discuss and get into in the manner as well. Keep smashing the likes, guys. I need you to get the likes up as well. Let's try and go through things. Can't sleep. Olise is what Ladu's saying. I think we need to sell Cucurella and Maatsen. Well, Maatsen is pretty much sold. He is pretty much sold. Before we do that, there was a quick report from the Athletic in regards to the owners and the type of things that we're trying to do at the moment. And it's not one for the eye that we've not really seen at the moment. It does make a lot of sense. Chelsea's recruitment strategy is focused on doubling down on an aggressive, coordinated attempt to assemble the best young talent. That is what we're looking to do at the moment. Just try and sign the best young talent. What they're not trying to do is not towards establishing international signings that powered much of the success under Roman Abramovich. They don't believe in building, and it's different to Abramovich in this instance. They don't believe that buying the most experienced, best sort individual across Europe into the football club is the way forward. They believe that buying young talent and bringing them all in and trying to get them to play in a system that a manager can get the best out of and have the potentials of growth in market value as well. The younger you buy them, yeah, they could be talented, but they've got that growth, that development, that growth even in the market, that if they do take off, then, you know, we have that option to push forward and either keep them on and they benefit and we benefit from them, or sell them. Do you think Olise is CFC bound? Well, we're going to talk about Olise very soon, guys. Lots to get into. Loads to get into today. We've even got an interview with Fabrizio Romano to even talk about as well. So there's, like I'm saying, there's a lot. There's a lot going on, guys. So that's that. Now, I want to get into the most breaking news, the most up-to-date breaking news at the moment in and around Chelsea Football Club. And it's around a young Argentinian centre-back. Now, Chelsea are supposedly, via Fabrizio Romano, have genuine interest in Argentinian centre-back Aaron Anselmino, born in 2005. Again, he fits the young age model. As per reports in Argentina, Chelsea in the race and are also aware of conditions of the deal. No formal proposal yet, but monitoring him among many talents for the future. And it seems like Chelsea just everywhere at the moment. I'm not going to lie. It seems like we're a bit everywhere. It seems like we're a bit everywhere with what we're doing in the signings. And don't get me wrong, we have enough people in the board level to be able to do multi-jobs. The Olise deal is firmly the main the Elise deal is firmly the main idea of where we want to go and who we want to sign to start with, the priority. And then you work your way down to striker, where there's talks about the guy from Atletico Madrid. There's Duran in the situation as well. There's talks that the potentials of Chelsea being able to sign an individual player from Aston Villa, from Fabrizio Romano's comments as well. Well, we'll have a quick look. Who is Sammy Anselmino stats? Let's have a look. Let's have a look, shall we? Who is he? Who is this young lad? Well, this young lad is a centre-back. His height's about 1.86 meters. He's 19 years old. He's right-footed. He's a right-footed centre-back. His current club is Boca Juniors as well. What's even more confusing is he's only played one game. This must be this season, right? Surely that can't be right. That can't be right. He can play left centre-back or right centre-back. His current market value, according to here, is 3 million euros. I don't know how much he is in the market as we speak at the moment, but is there anything on the guy that we can learn? Let's have a quick look. Why are we doing this? Right. Who is he? Who is this guy? Chelsea submit a £17 million bid for Aaron Anselmino from Boca Juniors, is what we're reading here right now. Is this something from the Telegraph as well? No. So yeah, that is. Oh, I know. I don't know how much, what, or whatever. So that means Probs Chalobah's out. Yeah. Listen, we're probably going to lose Chalobah, right? This boy might just come in and go Strasbourg. He's 19 years old. He's young. You're going to spend 18, 19 million on someone like that as well. It's not cheap money, but at the same time, he might need to have a loan. It probably will. By looking at his experience, he hasn't played. It doesn't look like he's played much football, like professional football. They want us to be a selling club. We are from a selling club, mate. That's what we're hearing. Could be for Strasbourg too. I think it is for Strasbourg personally. Guys, 150 people in the building right now, guys. Make sure we run up the likes, guys. Run the likes up. Run it up, run it up, run it up. Let's keep going if we can. So there's your news on this individual here. Now, what's going on with this young lad? We'll keep you posted if anything else comes out on that as well. What's going on with this young lad? One reason Sports Recife defender Pedro Lima is choosing between Wolves and Strasbourg rather than Wolves and Chelsea this summer is because Josh Akampong, who made his Premier League debut against Spurs in May, is viewed internally as being in front of him. So there you go. Chelsea maybe not as keen to get him into the Chelsea side, more the Strasbourg, develop him till he gets to 19, 20, 21, and then maybe bring him through later. Supposedly they rate this young lad. They rate this young lad. And if you remember, Fabrizio Romano was just like focused on the fact that we was going to get this done. Like this was the case that, you know, we've got Lima, it's going to happen. And then all of a sudden out of the blue, we get the news in and around. We get the news in and around. Sorry, guys. We get the news in and around that Wolves have hijacked us, which I don't think is more of a hijack. But, you know, Atchpon is legit, is what we got here, calling us a sending club as we're literally buying players. Well, we just sold one player for a lot of profit. In fact, we've sold two left backs for a lot of profit as well. So we're going to go back. We're going to go on from him. We've got loads to get through, so I'm going to fly through this, and we haven't got much time. The England game's on at 5 o'clock as well. I know people are going to be wanting to watch that. Chelsea would rather try to sign potential superstars of tomorrow at lower cost, develop them in the right way, and then retain them. This is just, it's a business model, 100%. Because if they don't make it, and they go on loan from us and do very well, then we make money on them. They want to buy all the young players that they think are going to be worth a penny in the future. And if they make Chelsea Football Club and they play, which I think they want for most of them, yeah, then fine. But let's be serious. Not all of them are going to get into Chelsea. It's not going to happen. So these other ones that ain't getting in because maybe we're very strong in certain positions in the future will then go out on loan. They might go out on loan to a Dortmund or Ipswich, like we saw, or someone from the Premier League or whatever, play their football, do very well. All of a sudden, you've got a player that's worth 40, 50, 60, 70 million, not able to get in your team. And one big example of that is Ian Maatsen. Ian Maatsen is a huge example of a player that goes out on loan, right? All right, maybe bad decision from Poch from doing that in the first place. Goes out on loan, yeah, and then all of a sudden we've got this opportunity to make some serious profit on. Lewis Hall's another one as well. Lewis Hall will be going to be staying at Newcastle. It's the same thing, guys. It literally is the same thing. Gotta love the data-driven approach. Joke, by the way. Dennington. Big up, guys. Guys, do me a favor, keep hitting the likes if you can as well. We've got 150 people in the building, guys. Good to see every single one of you at the moment. We're playing catch up on some news. We'll probably get the panel in for a little bit as well. It won't be too long of a show today. We've got a guy on free last year in Hutchison. He went Ipswich 1 year and is now worth 30 million, having never played for Chelsea. That's good business. Exactly. Another one for a good example, another one for a real good example. And then it goes on to talks about Gallagher. What are we doing with Gallagher? Still hasn't got a contract. Will we give him extension? What's the situation? How are we getting around the whole Gallagher situation? A senior football figure at Premier League club who spoke to the Athletic and honestly protects working relations. I still think there's plenty of Premier League clubs with the ability to spend. The market just needs that first big Premier League player to move. If Conor Gallagher was to move away from Chelsea, as an example, then Chelsea will spend and there will be a shift elsewhere. Then things start to remove. And I agree with him. Once Chelsea starts to spend in specific areas, there is a shift. And that shift being other clubs then reacting, because they maybe lost an individual, they need to gain an individual. And it just brings on a domino effect. Will Conor Gallagher be sold at Chelsea? I don't know, guys. He hasn't still been offered a contract. We have received offers for Conor Gallagher. Some of it the ranges of £16.5 million, which is absolutely ridiculous. I don't really get how they think Conor Gallagher is worth 16.5 million. The fact that we were not even going to entertain it, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. It is what it is. Yeah, he needs to go for at least 35 to 50 million for me. He has to. He has to. Some people saying he's not worth that. He's not worth that. That's why he needs to go for less. I think we need to make a bit of money with him. He's one of the players that these owners are going to want to make a bit of dough on. End of. Until we start to see us improve and win, this model will always be in scrutiny, be under scrutiny. Yeah, yeah. What we got here? Yeah, I hear that. All right, hear that. So yeah, that's that. We now move on to a little bit of news that's come out of nowhere. I don't know how true it is, but in and around Jonathan David. Chelsea, United, Tottenham and West Ham have all had conversations with Jonathan David's representatives over a possible move to the Premier League. That doesn't mean much. It just means that Chelsea are involved. But Chelsea will be involved in every single young striker that's available across Europe right now. We don't know who we're going to get. Is it Duran? Is it the boy from Atletico? Is it Jonathan David? Is it someone else? Is it Gracie? Who is it going to go for? I still think Duran is the main guy. I really do. I still think Duran is who we want to have. Who we want at the club. But I also think that the effect of selling Maatsen to Villa must be opening doors for Duran. I really do. Bobby, how are you, bro? Good to see you guys. Still 150 of you in the building as well. Nice to see you. Big up Development FC. Mount had 1 year and we got 55 minutes, so that doesn't mean anything. Yeah, true. I agree. Devin, what you saying? How are you, brother? Good to see you guys. Do me a favor, keep hitting the like button if you can. Share it out as well if you can. Let people know that we're live as well. Obviously, we've not been on for a while because there's not been much news. The Euros is dominating at the moment as well. So it's just in here to keep you up to date. I feel like we're getting a here we go soon. No, I'm not going to lie. I feel like a here we go is coming soon from somewhere. And then we had this breaking news last night. And do you know what? I've got to give it to him. David Ornstein, he doesn't punch around the, beat around the bushes when it comes to deals being done. He won't sit there and say to you, still interested, still keen, still keen. He just goes straight in with the bomber. And then everyone else goes on from it. And that's what I like. With Fabrizio, I feel like he's dragging things out a bit too much and he don't really give you much news. It's a little bit recycled. With Ornstein, he just goes bang. And Aston Villa reached an agreement with Chelsea to sign Ian Maatsen. The fee for the Dutch young international worth north of expired Borussia Dortmund, specific 35 million release clause, personal terms in place on a 6-year contract. And then we had a response. We had like a wave after that. And that wave came from the information that came from Fabrizio Romano that gave us a bit more detail about the situation. The agreement between Aston Villa and Chelsea for Ian Maatsen is for 37.5 million. Listen, guys, that is what you call good, pure profit. I've got to give it to these owners. They're selling players well. They are selling some players very well. Havertz, Mount, Maatsen. 37.5 million for Maatsen. Are you mad? Yeah, he might go on to be worth 40, 50 million. He might go on to be worth 20, 15 million. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a good young player. But to sell him for 37.5 million based on the number of appearances he's actually had at our football club, this was all based on the loan. This was all based on what he did in Dortmund. This is what made this figure, even though we had that 35 million, made this figure achievable. Making a semi-final of a Champions League, playing as well as he is. And I keep saying this. This will happen with a lot of the young players we're signing. Not every young player that we're signing and bringing in is to potentially fit in the team. It can't. It won't happen. It won't happen. Maybe for the future, there will be a lot of them that do get in, but there will still be some that maybe just don't make the cut and we go out and just buy. Them ones will be loaned. And if them ones can make us 30 million, 40 million, if we're buying a youngster for 16 million, next minute he's now worth 25, 30 million. We've doubled our money. Like, do you know what I mean? So I think there's a definite model around how they want to do things structurally. But it's just about making sure that you improve us for the now as well. It's all right buying all these youngsters, but you need to get deals done. We want to see Olise at the club. We need a striker. There's potential that in pre-season, if he's not happy, he'll want a goalie, and we have to sell goalies. Centre backs, like left back, for example, is he fully, interested, Maresca, in just having Cucurella and Chilwell? I don't know. Like, these are things that we're waiting to find out. We got 37 million for Maatsen. What makes you think we'll get less for Gallagher? It's Derek and Josh going back and forwards. Guys, 150 of you in the building. Smash the likes, guys, if you can. Run it up. Get the likes up. Share it out. We are just talking on Maatsen at the moment and more on Maatsen from Fabrizio Romano, which is here as well. More on Ian Maatsen. Aston Villa are confident to get it done also on final details by the end of the week. There's already green light given from Chelsea. Clubs are discussing the possibility to include one player in the deal. Currently not guaranteed it would be John Duran. So I'm trying to work in my head. If it ain't John Duran, who it has to be for me, there's no one else. Who else would we want? Who else would we want outside of John Duran from Aston Villa? Martinez, the goalie? Maybe. I don't see him get rid of him. People were crying for Ollie Watkins. He ain't going to leave us when he's playing Champions League football next season. Why would he do that? Man's playing Champions League football. It's not going to be Ollie Watkins. It's not going to be a winger if we're getting Olise, unless it's a Diaby or a Bailey, which I doubt they're going to let any of them go because they're still kind of new to Villa. Douglas Luiz is going Juventus, so it ain't a midfielder. Who they got at the back? Konsa? We're going to just get another defender for Aston Villa, maybe a Konsa or someone. I don't know. It just, it don't make no sense. For me, it all points towards Duran. Martinez, I could only see, is what Keyshaw's doing. Guys, good to see you all in. Nearly 200 people in the building. Good to see every single one of you in the building. It's Duran gem, clearly. Yeah, listen, I agree. It is Duran. It's got to be Duran. Has to be. But then that leads on to my next thing. From Maatsen, we know for 37.5 million, we've got a bit of profit on there. We now go on to Chelsea signing players or trying to sign players. Chelsea selling Ian Maatsen should open up the door for John Duran. Let's see what happens. I agree with Piers. I think it does open up the door. I think now that we've done them a bit of a favour because there was genuine interest from Dortmund to keep it on, all right, it was at a lesser fee. Tells me we have to, we have to be getting something back for it, and that is the potentials of Jonathan Duran to Chelsea. Now, we've not still heard too much on it. We know the player's interested in joining us. The issue Chelsea have with Villa at the moment, from what we understand to this point, is the fee. They want regions of 40 plus million pounds for Jonathan Duran to leave Aston Villa, is what we've been told. That is a lot of money. Still, don't get me wrong. Chelsea are probably trying to do 30 million plus add-ons or something like that. And they're probably not meeting in the middle where they need to when it comes to Duran. And that's where we stand with it. We haven't got much more on it. Maybe we get what we want now because they've got Maatsen at the end of the week. And maybe it's a knock-on effect. And I really do think there's going to be a knock-on effect. If we are being given a player from Aston Villa, once Maatsen gets a here we go and it comes through, it might be that this other deal's already tied up. And it's just waiting. It's like a stem. It's waiting for one to go, for the other one to go, for the other one to go. That might be the case. But there is telling reports that Chelsea are continuously putting bids in for this guy. This guy right here, Samu Amorodion. Or Morodion, shall I say. Chelsea made a bid for the third time. The one worth up to 42.2 million for Samu Adorian. But again, once again, Atletico Madrid rejected this. Now, Fabrizio Romano came out and commented on this a little while ago and said the reason that Atletico are turning down any type of bid for this guy is because they want to give him a new contract with a high release clause in it. They're talking about 80 million euros, 100 million euros. They feel that this guy here is the real deal to them. And they feel that if they sell him for less than what Chelsea are offering right now, then they might shoot themselves in the foot in the future. Now, I haven't done much research on this guy. I've watched some of his goals. He's big. He's quick. I'm not sold on the type of style of goals that he scores, I would say. None of that really like makes me feel like, oh, we need to sign him. We need to sign this guy. Don done a little bit of research on the guy as well, funny enough, and he said the guy's overall play is quite poor. It's not good. It is not good play. And we now found ourselves in a position where, if this is true, are we just spinning balls? Yeah, we could have Duran on the deal with Maatsen, but we're not too sure. So we're checking with this guy to see if we can get a bid for him. What are we doing? Where are we actually going with this? 8 goals last year, 80 million, no thanks. I agree. I'm not sold on this guy. He looks more raw than Duran. I think he is. I watched parts of his game. He's very... And again, I don't even know if I can show this. I probably can't because it's on... No, I can't. Again, I don't think he's any... And again, it's the whole thing of the Premier League. Duran's played in the Premier League. Duran knows the game really well. He knows the Premier League. He knows what he's looking at. Do you know what I mean? 8 grounds. 8 goals. 8 goals, Gabriel. 8 goals. So that's that. That's where we are with strikers. I don't know what we're doing. No one knows what we're doing. You've been told it's Duran. Been told it's this guy. Next minute it's going to be someone else. Then it's someone else. This is Chelsea, guys. This is what we always get every year, every season, linked to everyone. And they draw nearly 200 people in the building, though. Get the likes up, guys. Run out. Run it out. Surprised we ain't linked to Roque yet. 40 million, and he was / wanted to Barca. I'm sure what the story is. I don't know about that one. Oh, that Colombian. Oh, the Colombian got the better of me. Gabriel, you joker. So there you go. There's the striker details, guys. That's where we are with the strikers. Now, here we go. Not an actual here we go. I'm not giving no here we goes because there is no here we goes yet in regards to Olise. But let's talk about what's on people's mind at the moment. And it is this guy, Michael Olise to Chelsea. Where are we at with it? What's going on? What's the situation? Well, we've been told yesterday that Palace have offered Michael Olise a deal, higher salary, and a new release clause for 2025. However, Fabrizio understands, despite this, Chelsea still confident as they to push to agree on personal terms. It's now up to the player, and we've been told that the player has been given potentially the weekend to view this or overview this and decide what he wants to do. Bayern and Newcastle have also been allowed talks with him. How far they've gone with it, I don't know. All we know is that Chelsea have got an addiction to Olise. That's what we're being told. They want Olise. They want him at the club. They're trying to do everything they can to get him. But then Palace have decided to do what any other normal club does, which is throw a spanner in the woodwork and offer the guy more money and this huge release clause, which could be up to 100 million, meaning that he'll be able to make probably even more money if he agrees to stay another 1 year at the club. Now, there is a gentleman's agreement involved as well, which means there's commission splits that need to be taken place. Olise may get higher, maybe detailing higher split commissions. Then there's the agents. Then there's probably family involved. And it takes a long time to get all of these things agreed. And listen, I am one of them fans that really want Olise at the club. You know, we want Olise. We understand this. But at the same time, these things we can't rush these things. We're being told that we're on it. And that's good. We're on it. We're getting it done. We're not just fizzing around. We're ahead. We're told we're a lot ahead of everyone else in terms of trying to attract the player to their club. And it really ultimately falls down to him just giving us the go ahead. He might have even done that. We might be days behind at this point. We don't know. All we know is that in the next I'd say at least by the weekend next week, if we don't hear anything by next week, I think we get an answer to the Olise saga. This ain't dragging out anymore. We're at the point now where I think we will get an answer. Is he staying at Palace or is he coming to Chelsea? And I'll be quite honest with you guys. I'm not going to lie. That's Derek. That's I'm not going to lie. It really falls down to this for me. The club's not a problem. They've already said that. They've allowed us to have this conversation. They know the situation. Palace aside. How much ambition has Olise got? What does he want? Because you look at where we are at Chelsea, how we're set up with all the young players and where we're trying to go with things, supposedly with the right manager. It's set up perfectly for him. There's no real reason as to why he wouldn't want to come. He wanted Chelsea last season. The reason he didn't come last season was because of the club. Palace again, threatening us with lawsuits and whatever in the way that down to the way that we approached him. This time round, we've already done the personal work, really, even though we're probably still trying to intricately sort it out with him at the moment. The clubs are allowed us to have this conversation. Everything's above board. He has to just go yes to Chelsea and then we move on. But if he doesn't and he decides to stay at Palace, all it confirms to me is that this man has no ambition. I'm sorry. As much as you like this guy, for me, if he doesn't come to this football club, based on how much work we've probably done up to this point for him, and he goes and follows the new contract and release clause, he ain't showing no ambition. And number two, he can't have wanted to come to Chelsea that much. Because if he really wanted Chelsea, even like the Caicedo deal, when all he wanted was Chelsea, if you really wanted Chelsea, you would just come to Chelsea. And he should want to. He should want to. He wants European football. He wants the next step. You ain't got no ambition staying there. This is now on Olise to try and theoretically give us the go-ahead. Chelsea want Olise badly. The player feels that the obsession the player feels that obsession. Chelsea believe he would be perfect to play with Mudryk, with Palmer and others. Chelsea have made a strong financial offer to Olise. So we've already put a package together that's pretty strong. Supposedly. It's pretty strong. So I really think we're at a position now where the ball's in his court. He needs to make the decision. What does he really want? What does he really want out of all this, effectively? yeah, it's a red flag for me. And I don't think we should just keep chasing him because he wants to, oh, I got offered another contract, I can make more money. Bun that. He's like, done that. For me, that's Mudryk. So it's a no-go for me. Now we're going to watch the interview from Fabrizio Romano, which I hope we were good at doing, with Pies. So let's get into this and see what's going on.
This will go on for in terms of the personal terms discussion, and also like a little bit like how long do you think this will go on for in terms of the personal terms discussion, and also like a little bit like behind the scenes details, if you have anything on like, why the conversations with Chelsea have been so positive for Olise. Like, what are we saying to him in terms of the project, our pitch to the player, and just how long in general do you think this saga, I guess, will go on for?
So thank you again for all the questions. And I don't think it's going to be a super long saga. The feeling I have is that also Crystal Palace and, for example, their directors, their manager, they hope to have an answer from Olise as soon as possible, maybe next week. They don't want to have this saga till the end of July, beginning of August. I think the best way for all parties involved is to resolve as soon as possible. So I think they will have an answer really in the next days, maybe next week or the following one, but I don't think it's going to be one for August or this kind of long saga. And in terms of conversations, I think the big advantage that Chelsea have, obviously, you are Chelsea. So when you are Chelsea, is obviously a big club, and I don't need to say that, it's very clear, is about the money because the financial proposal is very good. But it's not just about that. I think the big advantage is that Chelsea already attacked the situation for Olise 1 year ago. Olise was really close to joining Chelsea, and Olise appreciates the fact that Chelsea wanted him strongly 1 year ago. And now, among all the clubs I mentioned, Newcastle, Bayern, all these clubs are interested in Olise and are talking to Olise, so we can consider them as part of the race. But the only club who was already there 1 year ago, pushing, presenting their project, sending their people to talk to Olise, to people close to him, was Chelsea. So Chelsea are working on the Olise deal now, but they were already working on this 1 year ago. So Chelsea project around Olise is a very strong one, is a very clear one. This obsession is something that maybe as fans you can feel, but also the player can feel that, because the player knows how much Chelsea want Olise to be one of the faces of their project, how they believe that he would be perfect to play with Mudryk, to play obviously with Cole Palmer and with all the other special players they have at the club. So this feeling is something that the player has understood in a very clear way. Now it's about deciding what's the best option for his career. He also has now an important proposal from Palace, so maybe he can say, okay, we'll decide in 1 year.
There's some news in around Mr. Olise and to Chelsea, and you heard it. Fabrizio Romano feels very confident that this is something that won't be dragged out. It won't be like a Caicedo type deal. It feels like it will come. I feel like there's not much more you can really say. He's got to wait. He's got to make a decision. Chelsea, Palace, all the offers are on the table. He just needs to make the decision whether he wants to come to this club. And that's where we're at with it, guys. Like, that's where we're at with it. Nearly 250 people in the building, guys. How are we all doing? Josh, I've sent you the link, mate. You're more than welcome to join us as well. Let's have a quick chat about some of this news as well. Couch, if you're in here as well, everyone check the chat, man. Check the chat. Agent Joe Shields is on it. This is true as well, Derek. Agent Joe Shields is very heavily involved in this whole situation as well. And yeah, I'm just trying to see if there's any more news, guys. For us, really, there's some little talks around Jackson not being wanting to be at the club. I don't know how true that is as well. The most new news that we've had at the moment is this young lad. I'll share it again with the 200 people that are in at the moment. The most recent news where we're at the moment is this: Chelsea are interested in signing 19-year-old Argentinian centre back Aaron Anselmino. They're in the race and are aware of the conditions. There is no bid yet, but they are monitoring. So another centre back that Chelsea could potentially be looking to sign, young, 200, would be costing around, it says about 16 million. Not too sure. Olise and Madueke changes the game, is what Tobbs is saying here as well. Guys, I want your thoughts and opinions in the chat as well. Let us know. I want to know what your thoughts, what your real true thoughts are about this. Are you confident on Olise? Who do you think we're going to get as striker? Who is the next? Who do you think we're going to bring through the door to Chelsea as the next striker as well? I want to know in the chat. Let us know. Smash the like buttons as well, guys. Get the likes up if you can. I know we haven't got enough likes right now. We should be on over 100 likes if we can, guys, or close to 100 likes for this, please, guys. And yeah, I'm just looking to see what else is going on. What else is going on with And ask questions in the chat, guys. If you've got any questions, anything you want to talk about, this is your time. This is your time for us to be able to answer your questions as well. Cucurella is on tonight. It's Italy versus Spain. England are playing soon as well. Start lots to look forward to in regards to that. Yeah, get your questions in the chat. Welcome, Olise. Olise probably knows Palace will finish above Chelsea next season, Bobby. What we got here? Enzo probably knows this defender. True. Jonathan thinks Duran. Olise is a must. I don't really care what striker we get, as I believe Jackson will be the first choice anyway. Argentina versus Canada tonight. Interesting. Any news on the left back situation apart from Maatsen? No, that's a very quiet area at the moment. I'm not too sure if that's one that we'll look at more in pre-season once. Remember, look, Maresca needs to know what he's got. You know, he needs to see what he's got. Does it work? The goalkeeper here is another one. Been told he wants to see all of them in training and in pre-season, which means we're going to probably leave things to a little bit later if we're going to make any more any more signings as well. It'll be interesting what will happen with David Dawson. He'll probably go on loan to Strasbourg. Put him on loan. He's got to go on loan. That's one for me that has to go on loan as well. Josh, what are you saying? How are you, bro? Lots going on in the last, 24, 48 hours in and around the football club. Barring that, it feels like it's going to be a little bit quiet. But, yeah, what's your thoughts on the whole striker situation and Olise as well?
Yeah, man. No. What's up, everybody? Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, it's been some interesting stuff happening last couple of days or so, I guess. Glad they got the Maatsen stuff settled and over with now. That's good. Yeah, they have a couple targets at striker. It sounds like it doesn't really sound like they're too picky on any of those targets. Like kind of one of those whichever club will accept the deal first kind of thing. It feels like, unless they're targeting multiple players. But yeah, I mean, other than Duran, I don't know who the Atletico guy. I actually never heard of him in my life until the other day. So I don't know what to think about him from a prospect standpoint. Obviously, they scouted him; they think he's a decent player. But I've never watched him, so I can't give you too much information about like what kind of player he is. But yeah, it looks like right now the two positions they're trying to work on Olise and a striker. I don't know that they have a real preference of those two or three guys that we talked about, but I think certainly Maatsen going to Villa probably does help us with Duran a bit, and that makes sense. What I think once they handle those two positions, if they can get Olise and whatever striker, then I think you'll start to see more of the left back talk, maybe more center back talk, because the other positions have been fairly quiet with actual links. A lot of the links were for, that Pedro Lima kid. He was mostly for Strasbourg. This center back, I don't know. He seems like a young prospect. I don't know if he'd be for the first team or not. Aside from that, yeah, I mean, most of the talks have been for, younger players until we get these two positions sorted. So.
Yeah, I hear you. And I think a lot of it is still a bit in the air. I think everyone just wants that here we go and we can start focusing on how the player fits in the club, or, we learn a bit more internally about the deals. And then it'll be like what we do next, right? As well, where we're going next. Yeah.
Right. I think the club had two positions it wanted to fill. I think it wanted to get Olise and a striker. I think that was with the club targets. And then they'll let Maresca sort of take it from there and maybe see what he needs from there going forward, right? So
yeah,
we get the two positions of need that we needed at the club, and then let Enzo sort of figure out what he might need going forward as far as target wise. Maybe not a specific player, but a position.
Yeah, and people, it's becoming more and more obvious as the ownership goes on that we are looking to sign young, talented players players that we can also include in this squad for the future, ones that are maybe a little bit ahead in their own development at a younger age as well, that can be developed in maybe into an opportunity of playing with players that we've got at the moment. Others will be loaned. Others will be loaned like we did with Maatsen and others. And ones that don't make it and we need to make a bit of profit on, we'll do that. They will sell and then they will just continue buying in that manner. That's what I think they're trying to do with the future, you know?
Oh, yeah, it's clear. I mean, it's clear as day, and it's only this, and this is like a couple of years old. This project, if maybe a year and a half, really, as far as like getting players into the club. So, yeah, I mean, they got to build that base of talent in the academy and in the first team, and then figure out, yeah, like you said, which guys will go on loan. Of the guys who went on loan, did any of them look promising for the first team? And if did any of them look good enough to maybe turn a profit on? Outside of that, they're recruiting. They're doing their job. I mean, they're out trying to find players that mesh with what the idea of the club is. And, we can't really, you got it right now. This is where we're at. That's what we're going with. So,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see some more movement in the next week or so, like Fab was saying, I guess.
Yeah, and it does feel a little bit like stalled, but at the end of the day, it was very important to still come on and share some of the information that we are today. It's more information than we've had in a while. I'm not going to lie, guys, since Euros has been on, there's not been much going on, but I feel like we're coming to a position now where, like with the Olise deal, I don't think it will carry on as much anymore. I think we will get a solid answer by next week, my opinion. I even think the striker area could be one that's highlighted very quickly as well. Don't be shocked if we get a lot of bangs with Chelsea, like bang with that, bang here, like, you know what I mean?
Jem, when did the Olympics start? Do you know?
The Olympics start in, let's have a look. I'm sure, I thought it started in the end of July. Sure, it's the end of July.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, obviously
July.
Yeah, even Olise would probably want his future sorted before that, just so he doesn't have to deal with it during the Olympics. And like Fabrizio said, it sounds like maybe in the next week we get some sort of turnaround on that.
100%. I do think it'll be done before that, and that's a big thing as well. We've got this comment here actually from the Athletic today talking about Chelsea are continuing to build their global scouting and data analytics team beyond Sam Jewell as the director of global recruitment, seeking to complement modern digital methods of performance analysis and coupled with more high-level scouts and recruiters on. It seems like they're investing a lot of money into this area. Like this is where they feel is going to make it work, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I think most club, like I think a lot of times we forget how the club was operated before 3 years ago, right? It was really a small operation of like a couple people, right? We didn't have this huge, I mean, we had scouts, but it really wasn't like their job wasn't really like to scout players for the first team, really. And it was, it was just a different model. And now to be able to have to shift to a more universal model that almost every big club is doing. United are kind of falling into this problem now, but they're way behind us from a sporting project standpoint. Like you have to build your club and model your club to have top scouts, top technical directors. I mean, you really do need from the top down this sort of system if you want to compete in today's game. You just have to have that. So they're working on building that out now. They're trying to get the best people, identify the best people possible for the job, and bring those guys in to do that very same thing. So.
And also get rid of the deadwood like Lukaku, Malang Sarr,
listen, all those guys were bought by different regimes. None of them are really wanted at the club now. They have to find creative ways to get them. I mean, Lukaku certainly didn't fucking help us the other day by being absolutely dreadful in that Belgium game. But they got to find creative ways to like get those guys off the books, best way possible. But once all that is completed. And, we've got a couple of years of the guys being in the system, being through they've already said that Santos and Gabriel are going to be with the USA tour this year. So, that's good news for their outlook. They probably impressed on their loans at Strasbourg. So let's bring them in for a look with Maresca. Like that's the idea, and if they're not quite ready, maybe they go back to Strasbourg for next season, very possible stuff.
100%. Chelsea expected to go into next season with as many as 10 homegrown players in the first team squad, headlined by club captain Reece James and Levi Colwill. Well, that's pretty impressive, isn't it? Homegrown, pure profits, ones that don't make it, we sell, we make a bit of profit on. You know, I get the idea. I get the idea. Listen, look, we don't know how it's going to go. We don't know if it's going to work. We don't know if we're going to be successful from it. Who knows? We will find out sooner rather than later, I feel. It's going to be interesting to see what we do in this window. I do think this is a very important window for the owners, for the board. I feel like we have to get this right. They made a decision with the manager already, which we know we've not even seen Maresca. Some people saying, when is Maresca even coming to Chelsea? Like, what's going on? Well, it will be July because pre-season starts July. So
yeah, I mean, Liverpool just announced Arne Slot yesterday. So, and he signed weeks and weeks before Maresca did. So it's, you know, they'll bring him in when they bring him in for the photos and all that stuff. That stuff is just kind of semantics. You know, like, again, like I said, Liverpool literally just did that yesterday with Arne Slot, and he was announced, I mean, like a month ago. So, you know, that he's in and work. He's definitely working with the people that he needs to work with. They're messaging, they're watching film, they're doing that stuff. He just won't be in front of press probably until July sometime, I would guess.
Josh, what's your thought on Maatsen, the whole Maatsen thing and selling him for 37 million? How do you feel about all of that?
Yeah, I think it's a great price. I mean, the price is, the price is great. Also, if Duran happens to be, I mean, he's not part of the deal, but if he happens to come the other way, I think you solve two big issues there. You got a good number for Maatsen, and you got a striker. I think that's a great number again for a guy who's never played in the Premier League. You know, no one has any idea what kind of Premier League left back he'll be.
Yeah.
And so I think he wanted to go. The club were okay with letting him go. We got a good price for him. I think it wrapped itself up as clearly and quickly as it could. I mean, the last thing you wanted was for this to drag on through camp and all that stuff. And now it's done. It's over. Price is paid. He's got his club. We got our money. We got potentially a player, and we're on. We're on from that.
Yeah, I hear you. And again, we were going to always make these kind of sales because we need to anyway, especially with what we're trying to do moving forward. And I don't think this will be the last one. Chalobah, I still think at 25 million is very low. I think we should be getting at least 35 million for Chalobah, in my opinion. But
look what Maatsen went for. I mean, if that gives you any idea, like guys like Chalo and Gallagher, these are guys who have Premier League experience and who have played in the Premier League for a few years. Like, they're going to fetch probably more money in the Premier League than a Maatsen would, in my opinion. So, like, it depends on where they go. Maybe if they leave the Premier League, maybe it's a little bit less of a fee. But I think if they stay in the Premier League, the fees will be in and around that range there, that upper 30-40 range.
100%. And Conor Gallagher, are you still confident that we're going to manage to pass on? We've only had one offer, which was quite
poor. That was hilarious. The Atletico, I don't know if maybe that was just like that whole scenario was funny. It was like, we'll offer you 40 million for this guy that is a pretty unknown prospect. I was told he's very well known in Spain, but I don't know that. And then they counter with 80 million and throw a 16 million offer for Gallagher. It's like, oh, okay, that seems hilarious. But I don't know what to be honest with you, Jim, I really have no idea what the plan is for him right now. I don't know if it's to resign, if it's to sell. I think they're open to offers, so that's why maybe there hasn't been a real push towards the new deal. I think they're listening to see if they get a big offer in the 40-50 range that they would take.
Yeah.
But I think if they don't feel that they are getting a suitable offer for him, you could see him resign. I mean, it's not outside of the possibilities.
I agree.
There's just not a lot of teams that you're hearing about right now linked with him. So outside of like the Spurs links, and the Spurs would have to pay a big number to get him from us, I believe. I just don't know. It's a weird one for me right at the moment.
Yeah, it is, and I don't know what we're going to do with him. And you know, does that affect Santos? Does that affect others that maybe could have stayed or would have stayed in the team as well? I don't know. You know, this is all things that we've still got a lot of time, guys, through the transfer window, and I think a lot of things are going to happen in this short space of time. Bro, staying? No, I think we're still bro.
I asked my buddy the other day. I messaged my buddy after the Albania game yesterday. I was like, "Is it possible that Broja just is not good?" I don't know if he's any place he's been. I don't think he hasn't performed. Fulham opted to give us $4 million rather than play him at all. So it's like, and then he played for Albania. He started the first game for Albania. He was not good. He didn't play, I don't think, at all in the second game, which they came back and drew late. I don't know if this guy can play at all. I haven't seen anything from him to suggest that he's a good striker, and that's a little worrying. But if teams want to offer us money for him, by all means. I just don't.
We need to go.
He's such a weird player. I don't.
He needs to go for at least 20 million if we can get something like that for him. 20, 25 million, whatever.
Sure, yeah.
Just get rid of him. And if we're going to buy strikers and whatever else we're going to do, we need to get rid of him. Lukaku needs to go. You know, this 35, 40 million price tag, this guy's he's not even worth that. Unless you're a Saudi team. If you're a Saudi team looking to buy Lukaku, we've got a problem. We genuinely have a problem. I'm not going to lie.
Well,
Napoli seem very interested, by the way, because of Conte. That's the only thing I would say. But Broja was robbed off his explosiveness with the injury, 100%. Broja before injury, I was quite intrigued. I'm not going to lie.
I think we're writing off Broja too early, though. I think, you know, he's still a young player. He still knows what it's like to play at a top club. You know, that type of injury, some players, it takes them longer to get back. You know, it might take him 2 seasons to get back. So
yeah.
I don't think we should.
I hear it.
Maybe not
hear
for
it.
Chelsea, but
I just don't know. I hear all that. I agree with all that. I just don't know that even before the injury, like, I don't know that I saw, like, you could say, yeah, there's potential there. I don't know if Chelsea have the time to sit around another year or two and see if he can get back from the injury if there's offers for him. You know, like if a team like Monaco or somebody wants to come in for him, I don't know that Chelsea are in a position to really say, well, let's wait another year or two and see if he bounces back, because if he doesn't, now you're really stuck with a guy in your hands. So, but who knows? But we'll see.
No, definitely not. I don't see it working out for Chelsea, especially we're looking for more strikers right now. Like, you know, he's definitely have to make it somewhere else.
It's mold, AJ. Right? They're looking for like bigger physical guys.
Yep,
and
exactly. Exactly.
Come on then. What are you saying about Olise, AJ? Tell me. Like, you know, lots of the news we got yesterday was what, you know, Palace are giving him another contract with a high release clause and a bit more wages to try and keep him. Fabrizio says we're still in pole position for him. We're working hard. We're obsessed with Olise, is what we're hearing. I mean, what are you saying?
Guessing it, man.
Yeah. What are you saying?
No, I mean, that's all regular. That's normal. You know, that's within the flow of what they should be doing. Why wouldn't they offer him a new contract? Why wouldn't they increase the release clause? That's just standard shit. It just sounds like it's some groundbreaking shit, but it's really not. You know.
Yeah, it's called the last act of a desperate man, Jim.
Yeah. So I think we'll sign him between 60 and 70 mil probably. But they got to put up a fight. They got to have them last conversations. He got to make sure everything is right, you know. We'll probably sign him. That's what it seems like. When you link for this long and the talks just keep going and going and going, and the reports, they just keep rehashing this, it's like clearly he's coming to the club, you know.
Yeah. Josh, Olise, what are you saying? Oh, he might be busy for a second. Yeah, look, like I said,
my bad. I had you on mute.
Yeah, go on. What you said?
Yeah, I mean, again, to me, this is clear. I mean, it's about as clear as it can get. But we're on the guy. They want in. I think they're probably. This to me is one of those when there's no news is good news kind of thing. Like there's not a lot of. You're not hearing a lot of stuff from other teams about them. There was the initial stuff about, these teams wanted to talk to him, but there's been nothing since that. There's not been like, actually, you know what, Bayern really changed his mind after their talk with him. It's been mostly they're just waiting for the personal terms to finalize with Chelsea for it to be done and dusted. But again, I feel really good about this one. It's hard to put dates and times on these things because, you know, there are a lot of contracts to be signed here, a lot of numbers to be thrown around, but I agree with AJ. I think the number will be somewhere in the 60-70 range. That'll give Palace what they want. And then I think we'll have somewhere like probably a 6-year contract with Olise. And I agree. I think there'll be probably sometime next week. I think it doesn't benefit anybody to drag this out. So it doesn't benefit Olise. He's got Olympics. Doesn't fit Palace because they'll want a replacement, and it doesn't benefit us because we have other targets we're trying to go after. So hopefully this will be done again sooner than later. But It is a big
Yeah.
transfer, so there is a little bit of patience needed. This isn't just like we want him, just give him a little money and get him. This is a big player. There's a lot of other things involved here, so let's a little bit of patience. But I think he'll be a Chelsea player very soon.
Oh, Fez, yeah, I agree, man. I think I don't feel that unless he chooses to stay, then that, just like I said earlier, that tells me you got no ambition, mate. Sorry. Like, you're staying at Palace again after another year after we've done all this effort. Like, if that's the case, then see you later. Like, I ain't got time for it.
It just wouldn't make any sense for him. It would stall his career year. I mean, and there's just no real advantage for him to do that unless he has another club, a specific club in mind. But even then, he could go there now. There's nothing like he wouldn't need to wait to go somewhere else. If he wanted to go somewhere else, he could go there now. He's available on, to be purchased. So, yeah, to me, this is just it wouldn't make any sense for him to do that deal, and it would point to other things being more important to him than his football career. So again, I think you'll see him as a Chelsea player sooner than later.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you, and I agree as well. Like I said, there's not much going on. Simon finished this tweet. Let's have a quick look at that. We'll finish it off on that as well. I don't want to keep it too long because the Euros is on, isn't it, as well? So people are probably in on the Euros. But let's listen. As soon as we get breaking news, here we go. Let's go. Like, yeah, that ain't new news. We know about this guy. It's a defender, Aaron Anselmino. Apparently, we've open talks with him, according to Simon Johnson, another young Argentinian fullback, centre back, who's right-footed. Yeah, I don't know, guys. We'll just have to see what happens in that short space of time. But listen, I didn't want to keep it long anyway. I just wanted to keep it short because there's not much. They want to drag it out. I just wanted to highlight things, speak to the boys about it for a little bit. And then, like I said, when things start happening and we start getting here, we'll start doing. There'll be, I'm sure the panel will be in here, giving their views, their points, their ideas, and what's been going on as well and stuff. But other than that, big up to every single one who's been here for an hour, guys. An hour today, one of our shorter shows. Take care of yourselves. See you later, and we'll see you again in a bit. Peace.